yeah, word. Wanna hear it, wanna talk about it, word. Wanna hear it, wanna talk about it. Know it's all about the word. You know it's word. Yo, what up? It's G-Stylez, and you're tuned into another episode of Word, the podcast, right here. You know how we do. Got my man D.R.K. Beats in the studio with me, trying to get you in here forever, man. How you doing?
Yo, what up, bro? Just chilling, watching your house show.
My house show. Hell yeah.
Yeah, the dude next door.
Oh, yeah.
Pretty entertaining.
Yeah, y'all missed out. We had a little live performance over here by this crazy dude next door who's outside doing the show of his life, man.
He put his heart into it for sure.
So, yeah, we got a nice little concert out of that, homie. So hopefully maybe we'll sign this dude. I don't know.
Right. He's America's Got Talent.
Well, we're here, man, to talk about some music and stuff like that, because that's what we're all about. As you might know, me and D.R.K. are actually the group 8 Grand, so we've been doing hip-hop for fucking ever, man. It seems like since we were youngsters.
Chavalitos.
You know, we're fans of hip-hop as well, so we're always listening to different shit, too. So there's a bunch of really good music that just came out here in the last, 6 months or so.
So, yeah, 2022 was legit for some of them underground artists.
For sure.
Obviously, like Nas, and you know what I mean?
Yeah, Nas been around for a while, too, but he just never got the recognition, I guess. But yeah, Nas has that new album, King's Disease 3. Actually even did a little EP right before that one called Magic. It's like about 5 or 6 tracks. And they're really both dope albums, you know. I think even King's Disease 3 is up for Hip Hop Album of the Year award or something like that. Or I don't know if you want it or...
I'd say if he did, and it's hands down in my opinion, you know.
For sure. That one's good all the way through, all the way from beginning to end, if you haven't checked that out yet.
Yeah, for sure.
A lot of bad vibes around it though. All these new young rappers are not really feeling it, talking shit, especially 21 Savage, for example.
It's pretty crazy, but like we said earlier, you never know if these guys are kind of setting that shit up on the background just to, you know what I mean, gas each other up in a weird way, you know. These 21 Savages and all these guys, they're not going nowhere.
You know what? I actually like 21 Savage. You know, when he wants to be good, he could be really good.
For sure. We're just bumping him in the car to the wall.
Yeah, so I can't even hate too much, but I do. I mean, you just got to give respect where respect is deserved, you know? How could you listen to that album all the way through and not think that it has some fire, at least a couple of fire tracks on it, you know what I mean?
It kind of makes you think they're freaking, they're real music talent when they can question an album like that, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. That new Prof album is really good, too. That came out, I think, at the tail end of last year. It's called Powderhorne Suite. Prof had a bunch of kind of difficulties putting out a new album too there for a while. Did you hear that whole thing about him?
Something with his crew, sexual harassment or something.
Yeah, he was on a tour. I don't know all of the people that were involved, but I know Damn Atlas is one of them for sure. But I guess they were on this tour, and I guess a couple of the guys got sexual harassment charges put on them, or sexual assault charges put on them. So he kind of got caught up in that whole thing, and they were all part of Rhymesayers, and Rhymesayers kind of just dropped him after that, they didn't want to deal with any of that shit, so they just kind of, dropped him off the label, and they had to kind of go on their own free agents, and from what I understand, I haven't heard anything from Dem Atlas, so I'm assuming he's kind of done for now,
That kind of seems to me when you're surrounding yourself with a bunch of yes-mans.
Yeah, exactly.
The wrong friends, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you got to watch out who you're on tour with, too.
Just because you grew up with them or whatever.
Prof pretty much just kept pushing through, and he found Stop House Records. Basically came back with a vengeance, man. They dropped him off the label after he had just put out just a really good album. His last album was really good, and that was on Rhymesayers. And he pretty much kind of took off without him. It seems like he had a lot of creative control over his music, and
sure.
That album is really good.
I think it was good enough either way, just talented enough either way to be on Rhymesayers or not, and still get them plays.
Yeah, he's kind of got this crazy style that most people don't have,
I guess it's an acquired taste, too. A lot of people won't really like Prof, you know what I mean?
He kind of got this, wild style, I can't even explain who even sounds like that. He's like the white Busta Rhymes or some shit.
Like Eminem meets, Busta Rhymes meets Eminem or something like that, you know what I mean?
Yeah, he does a lot of singing choruses, a lot of singing songs. But he has a really good voice, though, actually, for it, and he just has a crazy flow, and he's been doing stuff with, some big names now. Over the last year or two. I think he did a song for sure with Tech 9, and then just recently he's actually working on this new album which is called Horse. And I've only heard a couple of songs off that so far, but it's really good. It's he actually has Method Man and Redman both on that album. And the song that he has with Redman, that one's called Pack a Lunch. And that one's dope. They both, it's like some old school, like, you know, Redman, Muddy Waters type shit, you know?
It seems like he got bigger names on these albums off of Rhymesayers than he did on Rhymesayers.
Yeah, so I'm thinking he has a little more control, creative control and stuff.
Or they're giving him more money from the label to pay artists for features or something like that, you know?
For sure.
Got a bigger budget so I guess it was almost like a blessing in disguise for him in a way, for that shit to happen to him.
Yeah, some people they come out of it better. I mean, that's very rare, but I guess with him it kind of worked out.
And there's so much talent on Rhymesayers, you kind of get overlooked as a MC in a way, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
When you have to like look up to Slug or have to work your way towards that kind of work history like Slug has or atmosphere, you know?
And I always thought that was weird on, you know, like Slug is like the main guy on Rhymesayers. Probably, I think he's, you know, half owner or whatever.
Co-owner, yeah, for sure.
But he's not on like a lot of songs with his artists that are on the label itself. So I don't think him and Prof even have a song together. Or if they do, it's maybe on his album, but not on Prof's.
Yeah, it seems like these last few years he's just been the man behind the curtain or whatever, you know. Maybe more working the business end of Rhymesayers.
And I didn't even know this, but I was looking this up now. But this is actually going to be his 7th studio album, which is crazy. I didn't know he had that many albums out. I thought he had maybe like 3 or 4.
He's putting some work already, huh?
Yeah, he's putting some work, so I guess he's kind of getting his dues paid now. So yeah, Minneapolis MC Prof, Prof, go check him out. And that new album is going to be called Horse. But I know there's at least 2 singles out for it. That one called Pack a Lunch with Redman, and then there's that new one that he just dropped with Method Man. It's called Subpar. That one's pretty crazy too, kind of a little different style. By the way, we're over here puffing on a little bit of this wedding cake.
Pretty tasty, right?
Yeah, some pretty tasty stuff while we're talking about music, man. That's what we pretty much do every day. We just kind of sit down in the studio and bullshit about music and puff up a little bit, catch up on things, work on some new shit ourselves.
Talk about life.
Well, speaking of our own music, man, you got to go check out some of our stuff. We last year actually put out 2 projects. We put out the Ocho Volume 2 and then this other EP called Love Sick. So we got a CD of, you know, about 4 or 5 songs of love songs, love type songs. And then we have the Ocho Volume 2, which it's doing pretty damn good.
22 was a good year for underground MCs.
It was. It seemed like I didn't really hear too many good like mainstream albums that dropped. The other album that I've been kind of bumping lately, this one's actually pretty new. It just came out, I think, last month. It's Logic's new album called College Park. Really good. I like it all the way through. I put it on my Spotify playlist and I'm bumping it like all the way through. It's one of those albums that you can actually listen to
song for song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know, the thing about like albums like that I like, to me, a classic album is always like it's gonna have certain elements of it. It's gonna have like a theme to it, and it's gonna have maybe some skits in and out of it to kind of like go with the theme, and of course it's gonna have like bangers all the way through.
Yeah. Just some skits to tie together.
For sure, and that's kind of how that one is. He does have pretty much all those elements in there.
He's a pretty funny dude too.
Yeah.
Yeah, he has a good, I don't know, personality or whatever, but he writes good shit for his videos, you know what I mean?
Yeah, he does. He always has like some kind of a
good concept or a good theme, yeah, like you said.
So yeah, check that one out. That one has he has a bunch of famous people on there too. Like he has like the RZA on there. The RZA does like one of the first songs on there, I think. And then he has like production from a bunch of like famous people. What he's trying to do is he's trying to take everybody back to like the year 2011, which is like, if you knew, you know, from 2010 to like 11, there's some really good music coming out around that time, you know?
All these old ass Wu-Tang dudes still never go away. They're still out there grinding.
Well, speaking of all that, I've been watching, I don't know if you've checked it out yet, but I've been watching that new series for the Wu-Tang. I bring this up every podcast, but they're on the 3rd season now of this Wu-Tang American Saga continued series or whatever the hell it's called, long ass name, but really good, man. And RZA's pretty much the writer and director of every episode, I think.
Oh, he is?
He is.
Yeah,
So
I didn't know that for sure. I think I'm only up to season 1 on there.
I've been kind of watching, like, just from watching the show, like, I've always liked Wu-Tang, obviously. Something about, like, watching the series, it kind of just reminds me a lot of, like, the stuff that we did when we were younger, you know what I mean? When we first started off, we were 8,000 feet, and we had this big group, you know, there was like 8 of us for real.
Yeah.
There was like a ton of us. And we used to do these shows where there'd be all kinds of us. We'd have problems all the time. Like sometimes they'd tell us like only half of us could go, or they tell us our set would only be like, you know, 2 songs, or
Right.
there would always be all kinds of fucking
no shows or lying that we're gonna be there, and you know what I mean.
Yeah, and they go through a lot of that same shit on the
just to
on
sell
the series.
tickets. Just to sell tickets.
Yeah, we used to do all kinds of crazy shit like that. We used to have to, work our ass off just to be on the show, not even get paid for the shit.
Right.
And then
these days that sounds freaking obscure. I mean, we would never do that these days, just to pull up and not get something out of the deal. You know what I mean?
No doubt.
But you're so hungry back then that you don't really care. You know.
And that's what they do kind of on that series. They do a lot of stuff like that reminds me of, our younger days and stuff like that. And yeah, we're more at that like prestige level right now where we're putting out songs and we got to get paid if we're going to, continue on with shit. Yeah, but there's all kinds of crazy stuff that happens on there too. I just remember, being in the studio and like butting heads with everybody all the time. There was always one or two in the group.
I ain't going to say no names.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
we ain't going to say no names, but but you know. It's just a lot of stressful bullshit over who wants to stay in control, like when you do a group shit, you basically have to be equal all the way. There really can't be a leader because then everybody's gonna fight against that leader, or that leader's not gonna be a good leader.
You gotta just come together as a team at that point and make, be as one. But when you're kind of young like that, it's kind of hard to do. It's easier said than done, that's for sure.
So speaking about the series and all that shit, what series have you been watching? Any series, or have you seen any good series lately, or any movies even?
Dude, I haven't watched a good series in a while. Sometimes series kind of throw me off because it's basically just like a long ass movie that never ends. You know what I mean? I'd rather just watch a movie and know the whole story right away.
Yeah, that's
sometimes true. I hate waiting to find out what the story's going to be. So imagine going to the theater and watching a freaking, the whole season of Breaking Bad. You'd be at the theater for fucking 2 days. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So sometimes they just never end, and I get too anxious to find out what's going to happen.
Oh, well, speaking of that shit, you watched Better Call Saul at least, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So you seen that last season, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's probably the last series I've watched. To tell you the truth.
Hey, what'd you think about that one?
It was probably what I expected.
Yeah, it's the end of the whole series, right?
Yeah, I think that was seasons. I think they shot 6 seasons of that, and I was able to see every season. One of them shows that they film close to home kind of are more intriguing to me. You know what I mean?
Oh, Bob Odenkirk he's pretty dope.
Well, they shoot so many movies from Hollywood that in Albuquerque, and they're in the surrounding areas.
Oh, that's true.
So I know it's a cheaper tax write-off for New Mexico in a way. Don't quote me on that, but I know it's something to that effect.
All right. Yeah, speaking of Bob Odenkirk, I just heard some crazy shit about Bob Odenkirk. He was doing an interview. He's the one that actually he used to write for SNL, for Saturday Night Live for like a long time. Yeah, back in the day. Yeah, I didn't know that either.
He's funny like that, huh?
So, but he's the one that wrote the sketch for the Chris Farley sketch, Live in a Van Down by the River.
Oh yeah, I didn't know that. That's
me either. That's pretty crazy. So he's, Bob Odenkirk's a fucking goat and shit. Well, you know what? I've watched a few new movies recently. I just watched that Creed 3. I don't know. What'd you think about that one?
You know what, man? I haven't seen it yet. I'm gonna have to get back on that one.
What about Cocaine Bear?
That was a lot better than I thought it was gonna be.
Yeah.
If it wasn't based on a true story and I heard about that movie, I would say it sounds like a really stupid idea for a movie.
Pretty much.
But it was actually written pretty well. Got the GOAT in there, the legend Ray Liotta, so that was a good look for the movie.
Man, he was just looking really old there towards the end. I don't know.
Yeah, that kind of sucked. When he passed away, it's like one of them
the last mobster guys.
People you grow up watching, you know what I mean? From little Henry Hill to the dude looking for a Coke bear, you know what I mean?
For sure.
Goodfellas, Henry Hill, you know what I mean?
Yeah, he must have been in pretty bad shape, man, because he wasn't really that old. He was like in his late 60s, maybe.
Yeah, now that you say that, he did look pretty rough and
real frail.
Yeah, he did look real decrepit, kind of. Now that you say that.
So I don't know, man.
Sometimes you never know. Them actors make themselves look like that on purpose, like just starving themselves or whatever. But maybe he was just looking like that because he was sick, you know?
Yeah, and died in his sleep and shit.
Oh, he died in his sleep?
That's what they said.
Yeah, fuck. That sucks.
Well, I guess that's the way to go, huh?
Yeah, for sure. Couldn't.
Well, yeah, it wasn't too bad of a movie. Obviously they exaggerated a lot of the shit.
Right.
The real story, I think, was that they were dropping I think they started off right, dropping big old fucking
from a plane
kilos and shit off of the plane, and the bear got a hold of one and went crazy or some shit, but didn't kill all kinds of motherfuckers. On the movie, it's just like a horror film, pretty much.
Yeah, for sure. I'm gonna have to watch the making of, not the making of, but the true story of that. Yeah, the documentary, whatever.
And I don't even know the whole scoop, but I know it's not to that effect.
Yeah.
They had to Hollywoodize it, of course.
Yeah, like for most part, every movie.
You know, a couple other series I've been trying to watch too, and I'm kind of like watching them here and there. Is like The Last of Us is pretty good, and it's been pretty popular. Everybody's really watching into that one. They're about 8 or 9 episodes.
That's based off the PS4 game?
Yeah, I don't know. When it was on one of the PlayStation.
Yeah, it was PlayStation, right? Or PS3 through...
Yeah, 3 or 4 or whatever. I don't
still
know.
Ongoing, you know?
Yeah, it's based on the game, though, yeah. Not too bad, though. It's like a zombie-type movie or show. But it has the Mandalorian and shit. Pedro Pascal.
Oh, okay.
He's a pretty good actor, man. He's actually been doing a lot of shit. Well, he just did Mandalorian. They just came out with the new Mandalorian series.
What is that stream on? That's on HBO Max?
Yeah, The Last of Us?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's HBO Max,
Yeah.
and then Mandalorian's on Disney Plus. He has them running simultaneously, so he's working on both of them. So that fool's fucking putting some work in. He's gonna be one of those guys, you know what I mean? Like, one of those action stars like The Rock or some shit that does like 3 or 4 fucking movies a year.
Yeah.
So.
Making freaking $60 million each movie.
And the crazy thing about that dude is he like has been in movies forever, you know? He was actually, I want to say he was on an episode of like Friends or some shit way back in the day.
Like Monica's boyfriend or something.
Yeah, or some
like that.
bullshit.
Yeah.
A guy that was like on an episode, you know what I mean?
Sometimes maybe your face ages you out and then you're like more screen friendly or...
Some shit, huh?
To casting calls anyway, you know?
That's how Morgan Freeman was too. That fool didn't start getting work until he was like in his 50s.
For sure.
So I guess it just depends. I guess never give up, huh?
Yeah, you never know. You gotta fake it till you make it, you know what I mean?
For real. They just I've been watching this other show too, Night Court. You remember that old show,
yeah.
Night Court?
Yeah, totally.
They just rebooted it. It's that chick from, I think her name's like Melissa Roach or something like that. She's from Big Bang Theory. She's like married to the Wolowitz guy. Is there any other things that you've been getting into really that?
Shit, man, now it's about to be warming up, so hopefully we could get out there more and start
gigging it up.
Getting out on the stage again, you know what I mean? Ever since it's already been a couple of years, but the pandemic, things had never really been the same. You know what I mean? They were always off in a way, you know? Even though they let people act normal, people still act kind of weird, you know?
I think we've been just mostly doing studio shit. Like, we've been doing a lot of studio.
Yeah, for a lot of recording, yeah.
Fucking
for sure.
ton of music out. We've been... Shit, we got this whole volume 3 already popping off.
Yeah, for sure. It's going to be a good lookout for that. Yeah, maybe this summer get back on that road a little bit more and kind of take this act on the road, you know, because we already got people out here that are doing it more than us right in front of the crib, you know what I mean?
That's true.
So we got to step it up a little bit.
I know, I got to see if this dude comes back for a fucking encore.
For sure. We need a backup dancer. We kid us up. And we'll
Shit, that homie was singing his fucking heart out earlier, I'll tell you that much.
shoot you his info.
That fool was the fucking... I don't know if he was purposely trying to go with blackface, but he fucking had that shit down.
Yeah, this is a pretty odd situation, just to say the least, you know.
That homie, I think he came out of the chimney or some shit. He looked looking like that fool from fucking Mary Poppins and shit.
Yeah, how often do you open your kitchen window and eat your Wendy's with their live show right in front of you, and they didn't even know you're there, pretending like they didn't see you anyways.
Well, there for a minute, the Nuggets were doing kind of shitty, man. Just transitioning, all kind of a hard transition there to basketball, but you know, we've been watching the Nuggets and shit play. Yeah, they kind of had some shitty games there for about 3 or 4 games, but they're doing pretty good now.
Got a little hiccup there, but when the good teams came back into the picture, they kind of pulled their head out of their ass and did what they had to do. So, just hope they could take that momentum into the next couple months. You know what I mean? See what's up with these playoffs. Show today where we're about 5 games left. So
yeah, we're at the tail end of March right now.
It's right at it's pretty close, you know. So yeah, hopefully, a lot of Nugget haters out there.
There is. It seems like the Nuggets are always like at the fucking edge of making it, but they like last year they were in the playoffs too, but they didn't.
Or I guess
get past.
more so Joker haters, you know. A lot of people hate on the Joker.
Yeah, that's crazy. The Joker is like one of the best fucking players, and he's a good all-around player, I'd say, because he. You know, he's good at passing, he's good at fucking shooting, he's good at fucking everything, driving the ball.
It's almost like a reverse racism with that guy.
Because he's a Serbian or some shit?
In a way, it's just like, I think like the black dudes, they're like, basketball's our game, and I think they feel some type of way about a white dude like being one of the dudes who's put up better numbers than half the dudes in history, you know what I mean? There's most of the dudes in history, so I don't know, just weird. But then you watch all these talk shows and they kind of push that racism envelope just to get more awe effect or shock value. Yeah, so it's, you know what I mean? I just wanted the Nuggets to win and him to win so that everybody could shut up, you know?
Pretty much. It'd just be nice to see a Colorado team kind of win something. Well, the Avalanche won last year, I guess, but
yeah. Well,
that's about
yeah.
it.
Well, when the Nuggets play, I mean, the Broncos play as bad as they do, the other team's got to make up for it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yes.
We already know the Rockies ain't gonna make it, so
sure.
the Rockies. I don't fucking know if the Rockies. I'm not a big baseball guy, but I don't think the Rockies have ever won a world fucking, or was it called pennant? Or whatever.
Well, they made to the World Series about, I want to say 10 years ago-ish, you know. But I think they got swept by the Red Sox. So
that's probably one of them teams.
Yeah, and I think ever since then they haven't even sniffed the playoffs or been out of the first round if they did, you know. But yeah, shit, like I said, go Nuggets, and hopefully they're still playing in June.
Fucking A, I hope so too.
Back.
Well, speaking of the Broncos too, didn't something just happen with one of the new Bronco players that they just signed?
You know, man, I'm not sure like specific ones, but I know they've been doing a lot of cleaning house.
Yeah,
trying to free up some cap space, because I know with that whole Russell Wilson deal, it kind of left them with a bitter taste in their mouth. And
they're still keeping him, right?
Yeah,
he's under contract.
Yeah, they kind of have to.
They spend a fucking arm and a leg on the guy.
Yeah, it's like either keep this dude or he still gets his money either way. You know what I mean? Still gets $250 million.
So you might as well put him to use. Huh?
Yeah, so might as well get something out of your value for your money, you know. But I'm assuming next year will be better, because it can't be no fucking worse, you know.
Well, like one of the bottom teams.
For sure. If that's the case, I'll just stick with the lingerie football league forever and not even worry about the Broncos anymore.
Yo, so we can't, finish up this podcast without talking about what you're the best at, man. Beats.
Try to be
D.R.K.
on the beats.
Now you've been doing shit since we were in high school, man. I remember you making some crazy ass beats. I remember one time you made this beat that was like, I think you fucking sampled like the Looney Tunes or some shit, and you used to sample all kinds of crazy ass shit, fucking Flintstones and motherfucking.
Right, yeah, for sure, yeah. Went through a lot of records back in the day, man. It's so weird these days, like every record's in your pocket, you know what I mean? You could pull up any song in your pocket. Who would have thought that back in them days, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I remember doing all the work and shit. We'd go to the radio stations and find the vinyl and fucking
lugging crates all over and stuff like that.
What'd you do with all those records? I remember giving you like about fucking hundreds of records. You just throw them all away when you're done with them?
I still have a stack somewhere, storage, you know what I mean? Still stacks of records, probably full of dust.
Oh, yeah. Well, no point. Like you said, now you could just go to YouTube or fucking Spotify and find that shit.
It's changed a lot, man. And then with, you know what I mean? Like, that was in, like, really hitting, like, the pads. A lot of people don't hit the pads no more. They just use a mouse and a MIDI keyboard, you know what I mean? Or, for the most part, that's all you need to make a beat is a fucking laptop. You know what I mean? So
for sure,
it's changed a lot since when I started making beats. And when Monk won, shout out Tony.
Yeah, rest in peace, man.
My bro. He's the one who got me excited about that stuff. So the big homie Tony.
Yeah, I remember doing these sessions with all of us. You know what I mean? We used to have the studio full of fucking MCs and producers. We had like 3 or 4 producers at one point in time in the group, and fucking.
There was a lot of eager people hanging around that point. You know what I mean? A lot of people that really were trying to do something, but
that was back in the. You know what? That's like the last time. That's the last era I remember of like people being like that. You know what I mean? Like musicians these days aren't even like that anymore. They're not hungry for shit anymore. It's so easy to become a musician. You fucking pay DistroKid or whoever. And you get your shit on there for $30-$40 a year, and you fucking can record it on your phone and everything these days.
You would have to get your shit back in our day and put it on a CD and go give people CDs or leave CDs at independent records and stuff like that. Now it's like it's as easy as handing somebody some letters on a piece of paper to find your music. You know what I mean?
It's that or fucking just going on social media and just pushing your shit that way.
For sure.
Anymore, it's been kind of fucking hard. They've been starting to kind of put a little bit of a restraint on social media shit, because I used to always post music on there too, and they're starting to kind of put a foot on that shit. It's just so many musicians and so easy to get through. They're starting to kind of like filter things a little bit more. They're making it a little harder for everything. Like I remember you used to get monetization on YouTube right off the bat. Now you have to have 1,000 subscribers and 10,000 views on a fucking video and shit.
It shows you how competitive that YouTube game is. Or
now it's because it's everybody fucking is in there, so they gotta fucking put some restraints on it to keep the amateurs or the can't even say amateurs, because there's some people that are really good that don't get very many plays.
And like our shit, we're not really YouTube. We don't really aim at YouTube for us. You know what I mean? Our YouTube is like our less worries. That's why we're more of a Spotify based group.
Yeah, and Spotify don't pay all that great, but they You know, we get a lot of people just want, you know, use Spotify. It's pretty fucking
you know
widely
what you're getting
used.
with Spotify. It's, you know what I mean, it's mainly music, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
YouTube, you don't know what you might click on after a few clicks, you know what I mean? You might end up into some other world, you know?
That's the thing is you type in some shit and there's people that make these fucking videos now like new Nas and Method Man song, music video, official video.
Yeah.
And then you go to the shit and it's like
Clips of old videos.
It's a bunch of clips of old videos that they just splice together to make it look like a video just to get you to click, you know, clickbait shit.
Yeah, for sure.
It's like, damn, people go way the fuck out of their way for shit like that, and you know.
Yeah, I don't even see the end game of that.
Or really just fucking over the musician that you actually supposedly like, you know what I mean?
You
like,
can't collect nothing at that point when you're, like, even if you had 1 million views on a official video, you couldn't collect nothing, right?
not if somebody else put my shit. If somebody puts it on their fucking channel.
I'm saying that's straight up freaking copyright right there, huh?
Oh yeah, straight up copyright. I don't know how these guys get away with shit like that.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Because there's some musicians that barely even do anything and get fucking sued up the ass. You know what I mean?
Why would you want to do all that work for basically just to see how many views you could get? Basically, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you're not gonna get nothing on the back end. Little kids,
Those little fucking puteros.
Little puteros.
Well, yo, man, I think it's about time for us to start wrapping things up. But
Getting a little tired here.
Thank you for coming in, my brother. You know, I've been meaning to get you in here for a long ass time so we could talk about this music shit.
For sure. Glad to be here.
D.R.K beats, ladies and gentlemen.
That's it. Happy 2023.
Yeah, we got some bangers coming out now this year too, especially.
Check out for that Volume 3 for sure.
Volume 3, the Ocho Volume 3, $8,000, man. Go check our music out in general. $8,000. It's literally all in one word. It's the number 8 and then G-R-A-N-D, and we got a bunch of shit out. We're gonna be working on some music videos and shit hopefully soon too.
I might pull up with you on a CD, but just make sure you find a way to listen to it.
No doubt, whatever way you listen.
For sure.
I'm gonna shove a thumb drive up your ass.
For sure.
Thanks, bro, for coming in.
Yes, sir.
Yo, this has been the Word Podcast. I'm your boy G-Stylez. Until next time. Hey, y'all. Yeah. Word. Wanna hear it, wanna talk about it. Word. Wanna hear it, wanna talk about it. Know it's all about the word. You know it's word.